Thank you, sir. I am a lead pencil, the ordinary wooden familiar to all boys and girls and adults who can read and write. Writing is both my vocation and my avocation. That's all I do. You may wonder why I should write a genealogy. Well, to begin with, my story is interesting. I am a mystery, more so than a tree or a sunset or a flash of lightning. But sadly, I am taken for granted by those who would use me as if I were a mere incident and without background. This attitude relegates me to the level of commonplace. This is a grievous error in which mankind can no longer exist without peril. For as a wise man observed, we are perishing for want of wonder, not for want of wonders. I pencil, simple though I may appear, merit your wonder and your awe. A claim I shall attempt to prove and perhaps persuade. In fact, if you can become aware of my miraculousness, which I symbolize, you can help save freedom mankind is now losing. I have a profound lesson to teach because I am so simple. Simple, yet not a single person on the face of this earth knows how to make me. Especially when you have to realize that there are about 1.5 billion of my kind made in the USA every year. Pick me up and look me over. What do you see? Not much meets the eye. There's some wood, lacquer, the printed label, graphite, a bit of metal, and an eraser. My family tree, in fact, begins with a tree. Straight cedar from Northern California or Oregon. Now contemplate all the saws and the trucks, the rope, and the countless other gear used in harvesting and carting my cedar logs to a railroad siding. Think of all the numberless people with skills that went into their fabrication, the mining of the ore, the making of the steel and its refinement, into saws, into axes, to motors, to growing of the hemp, and bringing it through all the stages of heavy and strong rope. The cookery and the raising of all the foods, why, untold thousands of persons had had a hand in every cup of coffee the loggers drink. The logs are shipped to a mill. Can you imagine the individuals who make the flat cars and the railroad engines and construct and install the communication systems? These legions are among my antecedents. Consider the millwork. The cedar logs are cut into small, pencil-length slats, less than about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. They are kiln-dried and then tinted for the same reason that women put blush on their faces. People prefer to look at pretty, not pallid white. The slats are waxed and kiln-drying again. How many skills went into the making of the tint and the kilns, into supplying the heat and the light and the power and the belts and the motors and all the other things that were required of a mill. Yes, and included are the men who poured the concrete into the dam that provide the power that make the mills work. My lead itself contains really no lead at all. It is complex. The graphite is mined in far-off Ceylon. Consider the miners who make the sacks and the many tools and the string that goes around the sacks and the men who put the sacks on the ships and the people who build the ships themselves. The graphite is mixed with clay from Mississippi, used in the refining process. And then wetting agents are added, such as tallow. After passing through numerous machines, the mixture finally appears in endless extrusions, as if from a sausage grinder. They're cut to size, they're dried, they're baked then for several hours. To increase their strength, their smoothness, the lead are then treated with a hot mixture, which includes wax from Mexico. My cedar receives 6 coats of lacquer. Do you know the ingredients of lacquer? Who would think that the growers of castor beans and the refiners of castor oil are all part of it? They are. Why, even the process by which the lacquer is made is a beautiful yellow, which involves the skills of more persons than I can enumerate. Observe the labeling. That film is formed by applying heat to carbon black, mixed with resins. Now, how do you make the resins, and what, pray tell, is carbon black? My bit is metal. Think of all the persons who mine the zinc and the copper, and all those who have the skills to make those shiny sheets from these products of nature. And then there's my crowning glory, inelegantly referred to in the trade as the plug. That's the part that man uses to erase the error he makes with me. It's a rubber-like product. Rubber, contrary to common notion, is only for the binding process. Then, too, there are numerous processes like vulcanization and accelerating agents. My pumice comes from Italy. Does anyone wish to challenge my earlier assertion that no single person on the face of this earth knows how to make me? Actually, millions of human beings had a hand in my creation. No one whom ever knows more than a very few of others. Now, you may say I go too far, relating the picker of a coffee berry in far-off Brazil and the growers of other types of food into my creation. This is an extreme position, you might say. I shall stand by my claim. There isn't a single person in the millions, including the president of the pencil company, who contributes more than a tiny, infinitesimal bit of know-how. From the standpoint of know-how, the only difference between the miner of the graphite in Ceylon and the logger who makes the wood in Oregon is the type of know-how. There is still a fact that's more astonishing than this: the absence of a mastermind, of anyone dictating or forcibly directing these countless actions which bring me into being. No trace of such a person could be found. Instead, we find the invisible hand at work. This is the mystery to which I referred to earlier. I pencil am a complex combination of miracles. A tree, zinc, copper, graphite, and so on. But to these miracles which manifest themselves in nature, an even more extraordinary miracle is added: the configuration of the creative human energies. Millions of tiny know-hows configuring naturally and spontaneously in response to human necessity and the desire in the absence of any human masterminding. The above is what I meant when I said, quote, if you can be aware of the miraculousness which I symbolize, you can help save the freedom that mankind is losing. The lesson I have to teach is this: leave all creative energies uninhibited. Merely organize society to act in harmony with this lesson. Let society's legal apparatus remove all obstacles the best it can. Permit these creative know-hows freely to flow. Have faith that free men will respond to the invisible hand. This faith will be confirmed. I pencil, seemingly so simple, though I am, offer the miracle of my creation as testimony to this practical faith. As practical as the sun, the rain, a cedar tree, the good earth. Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.